extramarital affairs.
Did you review those prior to meeting with her on February 29th?
I did. I stayed up really late one
Did you review those prior to meeting with her on February 29th?
I did. I stayed up really late one night, read all the reports, and then the next day started watching interviews and made myself familiar with what was going on.
Now, when you met with the defendant on February 29th, was that at the Hobart Police Department?
Yes.
And was that a recorded interview?
Yes.
What, if anything, did she say to you regarding other relationships?
She admitted having a couple extramarital affairs with Chris Reagan and a guy named Eric Erickson.
And was she asked regarding any other extramarital affairs?
I asked her if she had any relationships with any females, and she indicated that she did, and she identified Jessica Eversole as, actually at that time she identified her as Jessica, and I later identified her as Jessica Eversole on the exact same day that I interviewed her.
Now, was there any indication whether or not Jason Cochran was aware of this Jessica Eversole?
Yes.
And what did the defendant say regarding Jason Cochran and Jessica Eversole?
Kelly said that she got Jessica for Jason because the things that she had done in her life, she felt that, you know, she kind of owed him that, so she was giving him this extra woman to kind of pay him back for what she had done.
Was there any indication by the defendant that Jason Cochran was jealous over her involvement with another woman?
No.
How many times did she say that the three of them met up?
She indicated that they met on 3 occasions, and once in a hotel, once at her sister's house while they were babysitting, and then once inside her mother and father's home in the bedroom there. The very first time they met, though, Kelly picked her up and brought her back to the house, and according to Jessica, they stayed there doing drugs for a few hours. Various pills. She said she really wasn't sure what Kelly was giving her, and then they ended up going to a bar where she ultimately ends up getting very sick and is outside the bar throwing up, and it was her, Jason and Kelly all at the bar. And they were actually supposed to go to a hotel that night, but Jessica says that that never occurs because of her being so ill.
Was there discussion with the defendant about why they moved to Michigan?
Yes.
What did she say regarding their move to Michigan and Jason Cochran's help?
She said, you know, Jason had some back issues and that he liked to smoke marijuana, so he wanted to move to a place where he could have a medical marijuana card. I think she even said maybe grow it.
And what, if anything, did she say about her plans to return to Michigan?
She said that she probably wouldn't return here following this investigation.
And did she appear to be upset with Michigan authorities or the Iron County community during that discussion?
Yeah, she talked, you know, about the Michigan Police, the Iron River Police Department, the Michigan State Police, the local authorities, saying that, you know, she was unhappy at the amount of search warrants that were done at her home. I told her that if I was in their same position, I would do as many as I had to. And she also said that can you repeat the question again?
The question was whether or not she expressed some displeasure with the authorities here as well as the community.
Right. Oh, so when I came to the community, she said that at the time of this investigation began, that people were saying things in the community about Jason, giving him bad character references, and these were people who didn't even know him, and it really didn't make much sense, but that's what she thought when I came to the community.
And during this interview, did you introduce the subject of finding Chris Reagan's remains?
Yes.
And how did you approach that with her at this time?
I tell her that Chris Reagan deserves to be found. You know, he served his country for 20 years in the United States military, and that his family should be able to have a proper burial. And that it's important that his family has closure.
And during this time, what were you trying to do with the defendant in talking with her about Chris Regan's remains and trying to give his family closure?
Well, during this initial interview, it's simply to build rapport, gain trust, and try to ensure that other interviews occur.
Now, was there further discussion during this interview about trying to, with the defendant regarding trying to unload her burdens on some of these issues?
Yes. I told her that things had occurred in her life where her situation was changed and that she had a unique ability at this time to be able to come forward and be a witness rather than a suspect. And I threw that out to her several times during this.
And did the defendant jump on that immediately, that the witness versus suspect concept?
No, she claimed she had no knowledge.
Oh, and you say when you say she claimed she had no knowledge of what?
Anything to do with the Chris Regan disappearance.
Did she ask you something regarding whether you believe Jason killed Chris?
Yes.
And what was your response to that?
I told her during that interview that I thought that something happened, maybe spur of the moment.
And is that truly what you believed?
No.
If not, why did you say that to her?
Well, it's a tactic that's used during interrogation by law enforcement officers. We commonly talk to people and tell them what they want to hear in order to get them to continue to talk to us. It's how we solve investigations.
Your Honor, at this time, the people would move to admit People's Proposed Exhibit number 9, which is the unredacted interview between Mr. Ogden and Ms. Cochran, date 2/29/16. And we would also move to admit People's Proposed Exhibit number 9B, which are several clips from that interview.
Mr. Schulte? No basis to object to this. 9 and 9B.
Ms. Starr, would you please play clips 1 and 2 for us at this time?
I'm in the process of the process. Now I'm going to hold the place so that And she's playing the second clip next.
I'm gonna add.
We all are. I don't know what.
Isn't there any way to improve the quality of this audio?
No, Your Honor, it's the quality of the equipment that is recorded on at the location.
Is what?
It's the quality of the equipment that is recorded on at the location.
In Indiana?
Correct. Add to that our acoustical issues, and I think Ms. Starr just indicated that she believed that that was the fan on the computer that was making that noise when it was being copied. Okay.
All right. Is this witness going to be asked to?
Summarize?
Yes.
Yes, he will.
think so, because if your intent is to have the defendant's questions or answers to the officer's questions, I can make out about every 10th word.
I know, that clip is particularly difficult for some reason. Detective Ogden, with respect to the first clip, did the defendant indicate the number of other people that were involved in her life?
Meaning sexual partners?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And what was the first number that she gave you?
2.
And did she revise that number?
Yes.
When you asked her about a female, is that correct?
Yes.
Was she initially reluctant to talk about her relationship with the female?
Yes.
Okay. And what reasons did she give you for that reluctance?
She said she had children and she was concerned that I wouldn't be discreet about the way I handled it with her, and was concerned about what I would say when I went to her place of work.
Now, in the second clip, one of the 5th words I think that I caught, and it sounded like you were actually drawing a map or discussing with her directions to some location. What were you referring to at that time?
I was asking her to tell me which hotel they went to.
And was she reluctant to tell you how she met this particular person?
I think initially she was a little bit withdrawn about it, but she came around pretty quick and told me that she had gone to Kentucky Fried Chicken, went in to make a purchase, had casual conversation with her there a couple of times, and then had gone back there with Jason and driven through the drive-through, and it was. I'm not sure if it was at the drive-thru or just outside Kentucky Fried Chicken in the parking lot where she ultimately asked her for her phone number and says that it's for Jason.
Was there any discussion during that time frame as to whether all 3 of them participated in this relationship, or whether this relationship at some point in time was just between the defendant and Jessica Eversole?
Yeah, Kelly indicates that the relationship was for Jason. However, when I interviewed Jessica Eversole said she primarily had sexual relations with Kelly, and that Jason would sit back, and that only on one occasion did she ever have a sexual encounter with Jason, and that after those 3 times that they did meet, Kelly would continually message her or try to get a hold of her to meet, just the 2 of them. And she even reported at one time that she indicated to her, asked her if she wanted to be her girlfriend.
Was there ever any indication by the defendant that Jason was enraged or jealous of her relationship with Jessica?
No.
Could we play clip 3? Let's see if it's any better. Detective Ogden, we had discussed whether or not there was some discussion with her regarding finding Chris's remains and unburdening herself, I guess, for lack of a better term. What, if anything, did she say about her ability to take care of herself?
I told her at some point, you're going to need somebody, and that I would be there for her to talk to when she was ready, and that I wasn't wanting to push her in any certain direction. I was just hoping that she would decide to have a conversation with me about what happened to Chris Reagan. And during that time, she told me that she didn't need anybody and that, she was self-sufficient.
Did you try to get her to engage in a discussion about Chris Reagan's death?
Yes.
And what was her response to that?
you shouldn't be asking me questions about something I know nothing about.
And were you kind of, during this portion of the interview, dancing around the issue of Chris Regan's death?
Yes. I didn't want to push it too hard. I wanted to see just how far I could get during the first interview, and was hoping that at some point she would engage with me to want to talk to me about it more. Generally, if you push people too hard in the first interview, a lot of times they won't come back.
And did she pick up on the fact that you were dancing around the issue of Chris Regan's death?
Yes.
Okay. And what did she say to you when she figured that out?
She smiled at me and she told me that if I wanted her to have any respect for, or if she was going to have any respect for me, that I would just say it how it is.
And was her response to that important to you?
Yes.
And why was that important?
Because it's the hook. It's the moment where she changes the table and she's the one who's engaging to talk to me. She's gonna try to seek information from me at this point, and it's very important.
What, if anything, did she say that she would do if someone hurt one of her family members?
She said she'd hunt him down and kill him.
And did you confront her with how she dealt with Chris's disappearance right after the fact?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Sure. Did you confront her about how she dealt with Chris's disappearance right after he disappeared?
Yes. I asked her, I said, did you go looking for Chris? Or what did you do? And she said, well, I called him for about 2 weeks and I gave him multiple texts, and my response to her was, that's a common tactic that people do, that I've learned through investigations. People commonly text people that they know are already gone or deceased, or generate phone calls in order to create an alibi.
And was there any discussion regarding her driving by Chris's apartment or doing anything of that nature?
Yes, she said that she went to Chris Regan's apartment, I believe on the 15th, during that interview. I believe she said she went there on the 15th or something looking for him.
And did you indicate whether or not that was common in your experience?
Yeah, that is too, for people to say that they went to locations to look for the person and they already actually know what happened to them.
Now, what discussion, if any, was there regarding the defendant having an out?
Well, during that conversation, I told her that she could decide to be the witness or the suspect. And, at that given moment, she could have said, let me tell you right now what happened. And, things could have been maybe different. At that time, it would have been, if she came forward and wanted to come immediately here. And so at that point, I told her, if you come forward now, it will be better for you before they come knocking on your door. And eventually they are going to come knocking on your door, because this isn't going away. And I told her that she holds Chris Regan in her hands.
No,
And I knew she did.
I'm sorry. When you're talking about the out, did you have a discussion with her about hurting Jason? About whether there was a way out without hurting Jason?
Yes. She said originally that, or in the beginning of this investigation, Jason was present and everything else, and at that time he was no longer with us, so I told her that, she no longer had to worry about that and that she could come forward.
Now, you talked to her about her way out. What, if anything, does she say about Jason Cochran as a person at this point in time?
He's a loving, great guy. Best thing that's ever happened to her.
And do you recall what your response to that was?
I don't remember.
Would it be fair to say that this first interview sets the stage for your dealings with the defendant thereafter?
Yes.
Now, Your Honor, there are 2 other clips. I do not know if we're going to have the same problem with the fan. Ms. Starr is indicating she believes we're going to, so I'm going to forego playing those at this time.
All right, and if nothing else, it might refresh the witness's memory about what was going on.
Okay. Let's go back to clip 4 and 5, please.
I
I'm sorry, Judge, what did you say?
He said he's seen enough where he thinks his memory's refreshed.
First of all, did you tell her that this was all up to her, that this was all in her, the ball was in her court?
Yes.
And I think on one of those, I heard you say again, bring family closure, bring the family closure. Is that accurate?
Yes, you know, closure is a real important thing. I mean, when you talk to people, you have to get them to understand what the family's feeling and the needs of the family, and that, you know, the belief is that he's out there somewhere where he's in an unmarked area, and you want them to be able to bring him home and have a proper burial.
Was that a theme that you hammered with her during your investigation?
Yes, bring him home.
Now, I heard no privacy. What were you talking about when you said no privacy? You're talking about something about privacy.
I think I said no privacy when someone's gone, meaning Chris Reagan, because she was talking about respecting his privacy, and, you know, like as though she didn't do certain things following his disappearance because she respected his privacy.
Okay. And your response to that was that there was another motive for not doing those things?
Well, yeah, because she already knew where he was and that he wasn't coming back.
Now, when did you next meet up with the defendant?
I next met with her on March 4th,
And where did that meeting occur?
Culver's in Maryville, Indiana.
What was the reason for the meeting?
Establish more rapport, give her another out, see maybe if she would decide to come forward with some information so that we can locate Mr. Reagan.
And why did you choose Culver's?
Safety reasons. I actually, you know, had a three-man team out in the parking lot watching me, and I wasn't going to meet her in any place alone. And so I would commonly, during this investigation, I would set up, you know, public locations where I could be viewed by others, or another officer could actually, you know, be able to have eyes on me while I was conducting whatever interview with her that I needed to do.
And how did you start this discussion with her at Culver's?
You know, I think it's just like all the others. I just start talking to her about the idea of being a witness or a suspect. That comes up during it. I talk about closure and families needing to be able to give their loved ones a proper burial. I kind of keep beating on those things with her to try to get her to start thinking about what the family's going through, what they need in order to get on with their lives. So.
Did you talk again with her about an out and Michigan, going to Michigan?
Yeah, during the Culver's meeting, I told her, I said, look, I'm willing. I said, I can't do it today because I have a side job lined up and I had a dumpster waiting for me that I already paid for. I said, I can't leave today. I said, but I can leave tomorrow if you're willing to go. And because she was supposed to meet with me, I think like a day before that, or maybe even 2 days before that, the Culver's thing, and she kind of put it off a little bit, and then she ends up setting up the Culver's meeting. And she sets up the date and the time, and I ended up, just picking that spot. I think I picked it. But so I offer and I tell her that I'll go to Michigan with her whenever she wants, that I'll put her in the truck. I let her know that she's been so upset with the Michigan authorities, that that's all she complains about is they took my stuff and they've done all these things to me. I tell her, you don't have to talk to them. You'll talk to me and me only. And we'll go there and we'll recover this man and, you can be the witness, the hero of the day, basically.
And what was her response to that offer to take her to Michigan?
Again, I'm asking her questions about something she doesn't know anything about.
And what did you say to that?
I know 150% that's not true, and that if we're going to have any kind of relationship, you're going to say it like it is, and you're not going to lie to me. I flipped it right back around on her from what she did to me in the first interview.
And did you again repeat your discussion regarding being a witness versus a suspect, or being out in front of this, rather than the police coming to your door?
I continually talk to her about being a witness and a suspect over and over and over again. And I always want her to leave the interview knowing that no matter what, the knock's coming one day. You're going to either decide to do it ahead of time or it's going to happen.
And what, if anything, was said by her regarding Jason and the type of person he was?
During that one, again, she was saying what a great person he was.
Was there any discussion during this particular meeting regarding scenarios and closure?
Yeah, I tell her that, there are, she can choose her story, basically, of how this happened. And that, this is a common thing. We use themes with people all the time during investigations where we talk to them about a theme and then they latch onto it, and then that's how they tell us the story, is through the theme that we provided to them. And it allows us to obtain great evidence and detail, and sometimes it's small details at a time that we get during the investigation, because you're never getting 100% truth the whole time. But those little pieces all add together and eventually they make something good. So,
was a scenario suggested to her during this discussion?
yes. I just simply told her that, something had to have gone bad between Jason and Chris, and that they did whatever they had to do, and, in order to go on living.
And what discussion, if any, was had with the defendant regarding her role in the whatever bad happened scenario?
That she just went along for the ride.
Kind of gave her some, lack of culpability or lessened culpability by suggesting that?
Right.
In retrospect, since we're at the end of the investigation, was that the scenario she chose?
Yeah.
What, if anything, did you say to her regarding the difference between a witness and a suspect?
Can you repeat it? I'm sorry.
I think I moved away from the mic.
I'm sorry, that was basic.
What, if anything, did you say to her regarding the difference between a witness and a suspect?
Yeah, a witness is, I told her, a witness is a person that just comes forward and lays everything out on the table. Hey, I'm here, I went through something bad, but today I'm going to tell you every single thing that happened, and I'm not going to leave one thing out. You're gonna know every detail of everything that happened by the time I'm done, because I just want to get this off my chest, and I want the right thing to occur for this family or whatever situation you're in. And a suspect obviously doesn't do that. The suspect will play this game with us back and forth, usually trying to convince us that they're not involved.
At some point in time, I'm switching or moving to a different date now, between February 22nd, 2016 meeting at Culver's and the March 12th, 2016 letter call, did you make contact with an individual by the name of Walt Ammerman?
I did.
And how did Walt Ammerman come to your attention?
Chief Rizzo had contacted our police department and let us know that Walt Ammerman had contacted the FBI and provided them with some information. And when I found out that he had called the FBI, I thought, I'm going to call this guy and see just what he sounds like and what his relationship was with them and see if I could trust him.
Were you able to obtain Walt's information from someone?
I did. I called Mark Hoff from the FBI, and I believe Mark provided me with Walt Ammerman's phone number.
Now, Mr. Ammerman testified yesterday about a plan that you developed concerning a letter phone call. What was the plan?
Well, in the beginning of this investigation, I was trying to, size things up with her based off of everything that had occurred in Michigan's investigation and all of their evidence and what I already saw from sitting and talking with her. And I realized, she's a very highly intelligent person, and that, during this investigation, she had indicated during that first interview with me that, the FBI had already tried to bluff her, and that they caught him, and that, they put him in two separate rooms and told him that, the one was telling on the other, and I knew that I could never get caught bluffing with her. And so I had to be very careful about how I did things. So I sat and I thought about things, and I thought, Jason is gone at this time already, and what if Jason wrote a letter in the event something were to happen to me, and he addressed it to the Iron River Police Department. And I wanted to know if maybe Walt could be that guy who theoretically facilitated the delivery of that letter. And so I just sat there thinking about the whole idea of the letter, and I talked to Walt about it, and I became very comfortable with him, and I signed him up as a confidential informant.
Now, did you and Mr. Ammerman actually meet somewhere and discuss this plan or have a meeting before you signed him up as a confidential source?
I spoke to him on the phone initially, and then within a couple days, he came to the Hobart Police Department.
And why did he come to Hobart Police Department?
For me to have the in-person talk with him. When I spoke with him on the phone, I told him, I said, I can't tell you my idea over the phone. I said, because I'm not that kind of guy. I have to see you and talk to you and know how you're reacting to me before I can trust you. And I really would like to see you in person. He said, no problem, get in the car. So.
Were you sizing him up during that meeting?
Sure.
And what date did that occur, do you recall? That'd been on March 4th?
March 4th, yeah.
Okay. How did you feel about the meeting with Mr. Ammerman?
I was very comfortable with Walt right away. He, he seemed like a real genuine guy who cared about Jason and had a lot of stories about playing video games with him online. And he had a personable enough relationship with him that I thought that he could pull this off.
And during this discussion with Walt, did you obtain background information from him regarding his relationship with the Cochrans?
Yeah.
Why was that important?
I just wanted to know what his interactions with them were, to know, what his level of trust was going to be with them, how they were going to feel about him, how she was going to feel about him. That was what was important to me, is she going to trust what Walt Ammerman has to say to her on the phone when he calls her and he tells her that, in the event of something happening, your husband sent me this letter and asked me to forward it to the Iron River Police Department. What is she going to think? Is it going to be authentic coming from Walt Ammerman? And through that discussion, I was very comfortable.
Did Walt, was there something during that discussion that kind of clicked for you that said Walt is the right guy?
Yeah, you know, he's just a real personable guy. He had spent time, he had invited them up to their lake property. His lake property, and they spent time up there on his lake property with him. He communicated with Jason quite often. They would meet him for dinner on occasion when he was traveling through town. He has a really successful business where he travels all over the United States. And I thought, you know, this is a good guy to do this as long as he's willing to do it.
Did he refer to him as his best friend?
He said that his family actually referred to him as his best friend, and I thought that that was important too because, you know, I knew that he didn't have very many friends, and that when his family had referred to him in that way, that maybe his word would be taken a little bit more.
And when you say his family, whose family are you referring to?
Jason's.
Now, what were the specific details of the plan?
Well, I just said, you know, where did you last meet with him at dinner? And I believe he said Applebee's. And I said, okay, so while you're at dinner, and I was sitting with a pen and paper, and I'm writing this, and I'm like, while you're at dinner, Kelly, did she get up and go to the bathroom? Or did she get up and walk outside? And he's like, well, I'm sure she went to the bathroom or she walked outside, either to smoke a cigarette or to go to the bathroom. And I said, okay, so when she went to go to the bathroom or when she went to smoke a cigarette, Jason asked you for your address to your home. And I write this down. And that he told you he'd be sending you something. And if in the event that, and then you received this letter in the mail a couple weeks later. And that at the time it said, do not open unless something were to happen to me. And so you put it away. And then Jason's now passed, and you've opened up this letter, and inside this manila envelope is another envelope and another little note that says, Drock, in the event that something were to happen to me, please forward this envelope that's inside here, and whatever you do, don't open it. Quack, quack.
And who is Drock?
Drock is Walt Ammerman's handle for online gaming, or that's his nickname. He uses it, and he provided it to me. I did not know that ahead of time.
And whose suggestion was it to sign it Quack Quack?
That was Walt Ammerman's suggestion, because I was just going to sign up Jason, but he said, you know, Jason always referred to himself as Quack Quack, and that's what we should do. So I said, well, that's what we'll do then.
Now, what discussion, if any, was there regarding what to tell the defendant after Walt initially informed her of the existence of the letter?
Well, you know, there's some concern for Walt's safety after he makes this call. Walt himself was concerned. Other investigators that I talked to said, you know, how are you going to make sure that this man's all right and that she won't go there and do something to him when, you know, he presents this to her, that I now am in possession of this letter that may contain this, you know, unbelievable information that's going to bring everything to light to do with Chris Reagan, most likely. And I told him, I said, you know, here's what we do. You tell her that, you know, you're going to honor Jason's wishes and you're going to put that letter in the mail within 2 days. And I said, and over the next 2 days, I'll keep an eye on her and make sure she doesn't go anywhere. And I'll know you're safe, and then we can move on from there.
Now, were you with him when he made the call to the defendant?
I was.
And who else was present?
Detective Steve Houck.
Were you able to hear what was said on the telephone?
Yes.
What was the defendant's initial response when told of the letter?
A huge sigh, and then she began crying.
Ultimately, though, she tells him to do what he has to do. Is that correct?
Yeah, after she says either get rid of it or throw it away, one of the two. I'm not sure what her exact words are.
And what, if anything, did you think when she said, do what you have to do?
I thought that that's par for the course for Kelly. She's very smart, and her initial reaction is what I wanted, and it didn't matter to me that it was 5 seconds or it was 5 minutes. I wanted that initial reaction to see how she was going to react to the idea of the letter, and then I knew that she would regroup and start thinking immediately, which she did. She started thinking, am I being set up? And that's why she goes on to say, you know, go ahead and do what you got to do.
Now, did you receive contact from the defendant after the letter call on March 12th, 2016?
Yes, I received a call from her at about 8 o'clock in the morning on March 14th.
Sorry, I misspoke on the date. March 14th? Okay, where were you at when you received that call?
I was at the Holder Police Department gym.
And were you able to answer the call?
Yeah, I don't think I answered her incoming call. I think what I did is I saw the call coming and I ran out of the gym and ran to my truck, and I had my recorder with me and I jumped in the truck, started it up and started the recorder and called her right back.
And did she indicate to you what the reason was for her call that day?
Yeah, she wanted to let me know that things might be being revealed very soon, as there was a letter sent following Jason's death.
And did she indicate where the letter was sent to?
She said that the letter was going to the Iron River Police Department.
No, Your Honor, we'll try again. At this time, Your Honor, we would offer People's Exhibit number 11, which is the unredacted disc of the audio recording between Detective Ogden and Kelly Cochran from 3/14/2016. And we'd also offer People's Proposed Exhibit 11A, which are the clips from that.
11 and 11A I received.
Now, this is a different program, so hopefully the audio will be a little bit better. Do you have these clips? 3/14/2016, Your Honor.
What's up? It was what? Like what? Like what?
He has written a letter. I have not seen the letter. But it's the proper people that
A letter about what?
I don't know.
How do you know about this?
I know.
You got it?
Yeah.
Do you have it?
No, he wouldn't have given it to me.
Why not?
Because that was something he had asked for somebody else to do.
I don't understand. Kelly.
Yeah, I don't either, because it's not my job. So when I heard he wrote the letter with a close friend, in January.
Can you tell me who?
Huh?
Will you tell me who?
I don't want to do that because I'm sure that people right now and stuff when he there's a letter.
Okay.
But it was made up to the Iron River Police. There's an envelope inside of it. I'm
Well, what's that mean? What do you think?
I don't know.
Do you think he's going to tell him where Chris Reagan is?
I don't know. I don't think he knows.
Hey, why don't you and I sit down and talk, okay? I mean, what's it going to hurt, Kelly? You don't have to answer any questions you don't want to. All you do is just have a conversation with me. I haven't lied to you. I have no reason to, okay? And if you think I've lied to you, then you tell me, because that's the respect the two of us should have between each other, just like what you said to me the very first time I sat down with you. And that's the truth.
I haven't lied on it.
I know that. I know that. But you can help this whole thing to be over with quickly.
I don't think I'm going to need it to help.
Well, you might not, but it doesn't matter. The honest God's truth is, I would jump in the truck with you today. I'm working. You want to go? Let's go. So get this crap over with. What'd I tell you? I told you, you're better off to be a witness than you are a suspect. And that's the honest to God's truth. It's up to you. However you want to do it. But I'm telling you, Just like I told you the first time, not the first time, the second time we sat down and talked. You're better off to do it that way. And it's your story, you know? I mean, it's your story. It's all about how you tell it.
One thing that you don't understand is you believe I know more than I do, you know?
You know where he's at. And that's all that's important. I guess there really doesn't even have to be a story to go with it, as long as you help me discover him and bring him up. I don't know.
That's it. Now, Detective Ogden, what did she first say to you about when she gets on the phone with you about the letter?
You know, that, how she worded, that, you know, something's going to be disclosed through this letter that was mailed.
And did she indicate to you when the letter was mailed in her phone call?
I don't remember if she indicated the exact time. She said it was just on its way.
And how would you describe her demeanor in this call with you?
You know, I think she's struggling a little bit and she's worried.
And she, I guess, did she indicate that the letter was going to answer all of your questions regarding Chris Regan?
Yeah, I thought that was the important part because this is the first time that she admits, basically through saying the way she said it, that, you know, she has knowledge. She knows that Jason could disclose information about Chris Regan through this letter, which indicates that she knows.
What, if anything, does she say about whether or not she's going to be necessary once this letter is read?
She said she doesn't think she's going to be necessary, but at the same time, when I say, do you think that it's going to disclose his location, I thought it was interesting because she said, I don't think Jason knows. I think that's really important.
Now, when you confronted her and you said you're trying to talk her into going to Michigan with you, and you say to her something to the effect of, you know where he's at, let's get in the car, let's go. Did you hear denial?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Okay. You're talking to her about going to Michigan, and you say something to the effect of, you know where he's at, let's get in the car, let's go. Did you hear denial from the defendant?
Yeah, again, she says, I think you think I know more than I do.
But she never did deny knowing where he was at?
No.
Not specifically?
No.
Now, do you continue to try and discuss this letter with her and going to Michigan, try to persuade her to go to Michigan?
Yes.
Okay. Could we play clip 7, please?
You really think something else is going to happen?
As far as what? I guess I'm confused.
You really think that something else is going to happen, that this is all going to be revealed or whatever in some way?
I do.
Okay. Well, it's up to you. It's up to you. I mean, you can sit back and watch the show, or I don't know. Maybe you really need to consider your position. It's up to you, though.
Consider my position as what?
Well, I mean, it's just like I told you. I mean, you're better off being a witness than a suspect. Why not be a part of it? Bringing it to an end. You can be the hero.
I don't want to be no hero.
Well, there's nothing wrong with being the good guy in the end. Right?
Nobody ever said I was the bad guy.
Oh, I don't think that's true. I think Michigan's trying to paint you into the bad guy position.
Yeah, but they didn't actually get to know me. They went off of what other people thought and said, and in a small town, you're ousted if you're not from that area. So I heard stories about Jason, and Jason hasn't met people up there, and they're giving up character references and everything like that, and they've never met.
Huh.
To me, that's sick.
That's weird.
It's sick. I went to the mental hospital, and went in for questioning afterwards, it's like they toyed with them afterwards, and to me, that's sick.
Where are you working?
him with the driveway.
I thought you'd actually laugh about that. I said, I thought you'd actually, I'm sorry, I'm making a cup of coffee. I said, I thought you'd actually laugh about that.
That's the work I do, that's what I like to do.
I know that. I know that. Hey, listen, you do whatever you want to do, Kelly, but the fact of the matter is, you should be in front of this and not behind it, no matter what. And it's up to you. It's really up to you. And
Because what is my alternative?
well, I don't know, I mean, I think that from what I've seen and what I've heard is that one day they'll come and arrest you, and you don't want that, right?
Honestly, if they're gonna arrest me for something I didn't do, I wish them luck.
Well,
So that's the end of that clip. Did you ask her about going to Michigan again?
Yes.
And what was her response to that?
I think she has to work.
And what did you say to her after that? I mean, did she really think something was going to happen when she went to Michigan?
Well, I think, she didn't want to come back here. She didn't want to have to deal with anybody here. It was like one of the biggest issues throughout this.
Now I want to direct your attention to March 22nd, 2016. Were you able to determine if the defendant had a particular location that she'd like to go to on a regular basis?
Yes. On the 22nd, I watched her drive past my house in Holbrook, and when she drove past my house, I waited about 60 seconds and I pulled out of the driveway and I started following her. And she went across this big lake that we have right in the middle of our downtown community. And she went to the other side of the lake and she went into Jerry Pavis Park. And she parked her truck, and when she parked her truck, I went ahead and I drove all the way around the lake, and I got on the other side with binoculars and sat there and started watching her. She walked around this little swampy area of the lake, and she walked up into a wooded area and came right out overlooking the lake, and she sat down where, it was a perfect view for me. And she was sitting on this tree that had been struck by lightning, and it was burned, and half of it had fallen down, so she was sitting on the top upper part of the tree that was laying on the ground, and the trunk was right there next to her. And I watched her for a time.
Okay. And had you seen her at that location more than one time?
Well, that was the very first time I had seen her at that location, or I'm sorry, I had seen her go over there, but I couldn't tell exactly where she was before that, actually walking around. And then that time I actually saw her at that spot, and then after that I saw her at that spot a couple other times.
Now I want to back up for a second because you said something that I guess I found interesting. You said that you saw her drive past your house. Is that close to her workplace or her residence?
No.
Now, several times after March 22nd, you saw her at that location. What, if anything, did you do with respect to that location on March 28th, 2016?
She would, I'd sit there and watch her, and she'd go sit down next to this tree, so I decided that I would go into the wooded area to find the tree that she sat down, and I went over there, and the big stump coming up out of the ground, the trunk of the tree, I carved Chris is here in the tree, and then on the tree that she was set with to her right, I carved Reagan in it.
Now, why did you do that?
Psychological effect on her.
Did you go by that location again after March 28th?
Yes, on March 29th, I had court in the morning, and I was at court, and it got canceled. And I looked outside, and it was really a nice day, and I thought, I'm going to get over there and I want to watch the park because I wanted to be able to see her go to the park.
And what, if anything, did you see?
I pulled up, and as soon as I was coming across the bridge, I saw her truck coming in, and I saw her walking into where she always walks to. And by the time I drove around to the other side of the lake, I saw her either running or fast walking out of the woods and jumping her truck. And before I could get around again, to be able to follow her, she was gone.
And how much time does it usually take you to get around the park in your vehicle?
It takes me probably from that side of the lake to get to the other side, depending on traffic, maybe 4 or 5 minutes.
So, still on March 29th, 2016, where did you go next on that date?
I next went to Jason Cochran's house.
And why did you go to Jason Cochran's house?
I wanted to talk with his family, and I wanted to talk with his brother.
And did something happen while you were at Jason Cochran's house?
Yeah, so the same day I'm at Jason Cochran's house and his folks' house, and I was talking to Chet, his brother, and I started getting phone calls from Kelly and text messages.
And what did she want?
She said that, you know, she really needed to talk to me. It was really important. She didn't know how long she could wait. She would, ultimately she tells me she's going to be at Veterans Park. She kind of, the texts start getting, you could tell that they seem very desperate, and it actually begins to worry me because I think maybe she's going to go hurt herself or something. So I hurry up and I go there. And when I go to Veterans Park, she's in her pickup truck and she's out like a light. I mean, she was just completely asleep, and I'm trying to wake her up, and she's not waking up. So I called the ambulance.
Now, you said you were trying to wake her up. Were you banging on the windows? What were you doing to try and wake her up?
No, her window was down, so I was actually like nudging her shoulder. I think, gave her a sternum rub once just to try to get her to, you know, come to. But at the same time, I was kind of cautious staying back because I didn't want her to come to and be startled.
And so you indicated that you were not able to rouse her and you called the ambulance?
Yes.
So did the ambulance come to that location?
Yeah, they did, and by the time they actually showed up, she was awake and talking to me and was mad that I had an ambulance around.
Did you have them check her out anyway once they arrived?
I did.
And was she fine or was there a problem?
She was fine. EMS personnel checked her out. They checked her vitals and everything, and basically she explained to them she had slept in a couple days. She felt like, you know, she was very tired, and that was the extent of it. And from there, she came back to continue to talk to me at her truck.
So she's in her truck, you're outside the truck. Did you guys continue to have a conversation at that point in time?
I stand outside the truck until it starts to get dark talking to her. So I talked to her for probably a couple hours.
Outside the truck?
I'm standing outside the truck and she's sitting in the driver's seat.
So it gets dark. Do you terminate the conversation?
Well, for safety issues, I'm sitting there thinking I'm not going to stand here in the dark and talk to her anymore. My batteries weren't working on my recorder, so I wasn't, you know, I had an issue with that. And I told her, I said, you know, would you meet me at Lake Park Restaurant? And she agrees to do that.
Did she come right to Lake Park Restaurant or was there any sort of delay?
No, there was a little bit of a delay. I kind of sped ahead of her because I was trying to figure out a recording device. And so I ran to the police station, ran inside real quick, and I drove pretty fast to get there. And then I ran straight to the restaurant. She still wasn't there. And I actually turned around and drove back through downtown over just to see maybe if I would see her. And at that point, I kind of felt like maybe she wasn't going to show up.
Did she eventually show up at the restaurant?
Yes.
And actually, when you got back to the restaurant, was her vehicle there?
Yes.
So you go inside, approximately what time of night is this?
We probably get there sometime right around 7:45, 8 o'clock at night.
And how long did you stay at the restaurant?
1 hour. They close at 9, and I think it was 9 o'clock that they were closing. Whatever time the restaurant closes, that's what time we left. We had to walk out in the parking lot at that moment.
So you walk out in the parking lot. What, if anything, did she say to you out in the parking lot?
After that conversation inside the restaurant and all the other conversation that we had at Veterans Park before that, you know, when she got in her truck, she was in her truck for maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and she looked at me and she said, Jason killed Chris. And I said, how? And she said, you know, he shot him in the head, and it was fast. He died fast.
So what do you do when she tells you this?
We have to go to the Hoover Police Department right now. Let's go and talk. And she's fallen asleep, you know, at times during this where she's like having difficulty staying awake still. So I said, you know, I don't want you to drive there. You keep falling asleep. You can jump in the truck with me. We'll secure your truck. and I'll take you to Hobart Police Department. We'll talk further about this there in a room. Plus, I was having issues with recording equipment.
Now, was there any discussion with her when she was falling asleep whether or not she had taken anything that was causing this?
No discussion then. She later tells me, you know, after we go through this interview there, we ultimately get in the truck and we drive down Iron River. That next day, she tells me that she took some Xanax while I was waiting for her to come into the restaurant.
So you go to the Hobart Police Department. Did you take her into an interview room at that time?
I did. Audio, videotape, recorded interview.
And what, if anything, did she say regarding Chris Reagan's death at that point in time?
You know, at that time, she just said that she was trying to be pretty vague about everything. She said that Jason, you know, shot Chris. I think she, at that time, she said that Chris was at the house, Jason shot him, and that I think she ultimately tells me that he was dismembered and that they took him, you know, out to the woods.
So did she say what they would do, what was going on when Jason shot Chris?
Yeah, she said that Chris was to come there to have dinner with her, and that Jason wasn't supposed to be there. I'm sorry,
I know, it's a long day.
That Chris was supposed to come and eat dinner with her, and that she had cooked lasagna, and that Jason wasn't supposed to be there, and that suddenly Jason appeared in the basement, and that her and Chris were having sex near the back door, and that Jason shot him, and that he fell onto her, and the two of them tumbled down to the basement, and during this one she says that, you know, immediately when they hit the bottom, you know, she starts checking Chris out, and she's giving him CPR because she's going to try to save him, and that's very contradictory to statements in the future.
I want to back you up here for a second, because you said that they were having sex by the back door, but was that the first story that she gave you about what they were doing?
No, you're right. The first story is that they were having sex upstairs, I think, right? I think she said they were having sex upstairs at first.
And when you said that they dismembered him, did you have a term for it?
Yeah. She said that Jason downsized him.
And did she indicate what tools were used during this story?
Machete, knife, and a chisel.
And did she say how long it took to cut Chris up?
She said an hour to an hour and a half.
So she makes these statements to you. Your mind's got to be reeling a little bit. What'd you do?
Called Chief Rizzo.
And what was the reason for that call?
Well, let her know how things were developing and start making arrangements to, you know, at that point with Kelly, my decision at that point is to try to get, you know, figure out how to recover Chris, and for Chief Rizzo to start organizing things here on her end in order to, you know, have a search party. So.
Now, were you able to persuade the defendant to go with you to Iron River that night?
Yeah, she was kind of back and forth, you know. Ultimately, I do ask her, I'm like, just draw me a map, because, you know, I wanted her to come here and show me, but if she was going to be reluctant, she could draw me a map, and we would be more than willing just to, I still would have driven here even by myself and met Chief Rizzo and done what we could to try to find him. And, but in the end, she says, you know, the map's not going to work, and that I have to show you.
So, what time did you leave for Iron River was it on the 29th or was it on the 30th?
I think it's actually into the 30th by then, because we're coming up to midnight probably at least when the interview had ended an hour and a half at least before that. However, you know, I ran home and got clothes and showered while Detective Sipes stayed at the police station with her. Then I came back and Detective Sipes did the same thing. And then I wired the truck for sound, and Detective Sipes and I got in there and took the trip. Sometime probably just after midnight.
And approximately how long does it take to get from Hobart PD to Iron River?
About 6 hours, depending on traffic.
So what did the defendant do during the ride up to Iron River?
She slept pretty much the entire time, and she had been sleeping in that interview room probably, a good hour and a half or so after she finally told what happened to Chris. She actually went to sleep, which to me was very important also, because that's something that commonly occurs when somebody finally lets go of something so deep and so secretive.
So did you ever have any discussion with her on the way to Iron River?
At one point she wakes up, we're probably about an hour out, and I don't know exactly where we were, but she told me that, she was demanding a letter of immunity, or she wasn't going to show us his location, and I just pulled the truck over into a gas station parking lot, and I said, look, I'll turn the truck around and I'll take you right back to Hobart. I won't even drive all the way in. We can be done with this, because I'm not even going down this road with you. And she agreed to go ahead and continue.
So approximately what time did you arrive at Iron River on the 30th?
I'm going to say somewhere around between 6:30 and 7 o'clock, 7:30.
And did you go right to the police station?
I did.
And did she have her discussion with Chief Rizzo at that time in the police station?
Yeah, when we stopped and had that other discussion, just following that, she talks about, when she gets to Iron River Police Department, she wants to talk with Chief Rizzo, just the two of them. And, I was kind of concerned that it was going to blow up between the two of them and things weren't going to happen. And I went in ahead of time and warned Chief Rizzo, what was coming. And then I brought Kelly in, and the two of them went in the room and they talked for a little bit. And I also went into the room just to keep things calm.
So did you eventually leave the Iron River Police Department and go to another location?
Yes.
And where was that location?
We got back in my truck, and Kelly directed us down Route 2 to 639, or what's known as Pantoga Trail.
And did she direct you to a location on Pantoga Trail?
Yes, as we were going down the road, she pointed out a particular tree and said that, this was the site. I think that, there was a couple times where she was hesitant as we were driving, but ultimately she's like, this is it. And at that point, Chief Rizzo came up with her team and, marked the area and began a search. And even at one point, Kelly was out of the truck, kind of looking around. I let her out of the truck just for a short time. And, she wasn't in custody anyway, but I let her, walk around there and just told her, you stay right by me and you can't touch anything. But, and then she got back in the truck and she sat in the truck the rest of the time while people were out there searching.
I want to go back for a moment to the interview between her or the discussion between her and Chief Rizzo at the police department. And you walked in during that interview, right?
I did walk in.
What was the defendant's demeanor during that interview?
Oh, she was just argumentative with Chief Rizzo. She had been argumentative about Chief Rizzo during the investigation. She expressed anger about Chief Rizzo, and I continually tried to tell her that Chief Rizzo was just doing her job, and that you can't knock somebody for doing their job. And she was unhappy for the wrong reasons.
So you're on Pantoga Trail. She stops you at a particular location. Approximately how far away from where the skull was ultimately found was that location?
My best guess is about 3/4 of a mile. I don't know the exact distance, and it was 3/4 of a mile farther than Route 2, away from Route 2, from the original location.
Closer to Route 2 from the original location?
No, the original location was close to Route 2, and then 3/4 of a mile farther away was the real location.
Okay. After she points out this location, you stay to help search, is that correct?
I do. I get out and I search for a while. I walk around in the woods. There's a lot of us out there walking around looking, trying to find different things. And then ultimately I go back to the truck and ask her if she's willing to go back to her home and if she would give consent for us to go into her home in Caspian, and if she would be willing to do a videotape reenactment of what she says occurred.
So March 30th, you're by the side of the road, she points out this particular tree. How long were you probably by the side of the road in Pentoga that day?
I'm not sure how long I was there, maybe an hour and a half.
And I'm asking
That I
for
was there,
approximate.
but there were people there all day.
Right, so was she sleepy during that time when you were on the side of the road?
There were times she went to sleep.
And did she appear sleepy when she was talking with Chief Prison?
Yeah, I mean, but, yeah, she seemed sleepy.
That morning when she was in the police department?
Oh, no, she was wide awake by that time. She was sleepy along, with that hour drive over there. She continually nodded off and stuff like that. But I think she was pretty wide awake when we walked in the police department because she was pretty rambunctious.
So, did you actually leave Pentoga Trail then and go to her home at 66 Lawrence?
Yes,
And did she give you consent to do a reenactment?
yes.
Your Honor, I do have a clip of the reenactment video that I'd like to play at this time. I see it's 2:30. I don't know if you want to take a break first or you
How
want...
long is it?
It's 20 seconds. I can tell you one second.
We're going to take our afternoon recess, members of the jury. You're excused to the jury room.
What time do you want us back, Your Honor?
1:45 to 2.
All rise.